welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 18. I'm Adam.
Ian.
Brian.
Andrew.
Before we get into our game of the week for the week, we of course would like to invite you to come over and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/MeeplesOnMeeples and Twitter at MeeplesOnMeeple. We'd also ask that you subscribe to us over at YouTube, where we put up all of our reviews, our holiday specials, and everything. They usually go up on Wednesdays, and you'll get a notification when a new video goes up, and you can keep up with our weekly reviews.
This week's game of the week is Article 27. The rules sound way more complicated than it is, but I'll give you a quick rundown. Everybody's going to start with a player board. Basically, you're members of the United Nations and you're trying to pass or veto bills in a way that's going to benefit you score-wise. So at the beginning of the game, you get a secret token that nobody else sees that looks like it's made out of wood. That will affect a score tracker at the very end that might get you 1 bonus point, 3, 6, 10, 15. Depending if I was the scales of justice, the more that pass, the more bonus points I get. That's all you need to know. Nobody else ever sees this. Now, at the beginning of the game, you will start with 12 influence points that you can use to bribe each other. And then for a round, there's different colors. There's blue bills, there's green, black, red, and yellow. So you're going to randomly reach into this black cloth bag, and you're going to pull one out. And behind your little wall, you're going to put 5 different colors. So I drew a yellow, and then everybody's going to draw and put one down. I drew a black, so I drew a black, a yellow, and a red. Now the spaces that they fit on, you fill it from left to right, is +5, +3, +1, -2, -4. When the bills go into the center, you flip one of each color. Let's get all these out of the way here. So you have a yellow, red, black, green, blue. Okay. I look at my score track and I see what's going to benefit me. One person is in charge each round. You play the number of rounds as you have number of players. I have yellow at +5 and -2, so if the yellow ends up passing in there, I'm going to get 3 points. The black I have at +3 and +1. If I can get black to pass, I get 4 points. But people are going to be constantly trying to bribe each other. Take that out, no, put that in, take that out, put that in. At the end of the timer, I believe it's about 5 minutes, you vote on whatever's in the center. If everybody stops talking, you can hit the gavel and say, let's vote now, let's not waste any more time, and you move on. You vote for everything that's in the center, though. You can't just vote for one color. If people have been bartering back and forth, you end up with green and blue at the end, that's what gets passed. Whether it's going to help you or not, too bad. You should have been a better, I guess, poker player, so to speak, and trying to get people to go. Because you have those 12 victory points, and you bribe each other. If I'm the one with the gavel, they'll say, Brian, I really need you to put black in. I'll say, I don't want black in. They'll say, I'll give you 3 to put black in. And Adam might be like, I want black in too, I'll give you 1. And so that's kind of how you gain victory points, is you get them to pay you to take things out or put things in. And that's basically it. You pass a bill or veto it, the next person does another round, the bill may or may not pass, and everybody is in charge of the gavel one round.
I guess we could start like we normally do, just go into components of the game. It's a pretty, actually complex game for components. A lot of little pieces, these little discs. You have little discs of your country characters, so you can keep track of what you've tried to bribe them with. You put your influence points under them. You have your little token for
the secret score that nobody sees.
And then all those colored symbols.
Which, by the way, I forgot, you scrap those at the end of each round. So the next time somebody else takes the gavel, I'll draw 5 new colors, so it's always different what you do or do not want to pass.
There's lots of little pieces to it. That's I think all that needs to be said. And
the
I think
black bag's nice, where you can't see what you're pulling out. Instead of like a
which is nice,
baggie.
obviously, yep.
Yeah.
Or instead of putting them all face down and mixing them together, that's always a pain.
Because that never really works, right? Because everybody's like, I think this is the one I really wanted.
Can we all let's just agree
Start at
that
the beginning,
including a wooden gavel in a game automatically will bump your score up because it is awesome. And you actually are required to pound it to start the timer, and you pound it again before you put it to a vote. And that's super sweet.
It's meant to pound the table.
Not each other. Yes.
However, though, you do get mad at each other. However, also, artwork, amazing.
And the artwork is pretty good. It's very colorful.
Cartoony, goofy, very tongue-in-cheek. Don't be offended, but there's stereotypes for each country around the board that just take it with a grain of salt and laugh at it. Every country's made fun of in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, it's good. It's
accurate.
Got a good art direction. Maybe.
Yep.
I love the player board. Really thick, sturdy cardboard. It's nice and big, too, so you don't feel like everything's squished together.
Well, the cardboard in general, like everything is a nice, thick,
Yeah,
and these are little actual wooden tokens. So they're
wooden discs are always cool, yeah. And then the way it faces you, so this is your hidden section, which is a little bit cramped, but back here, all these symbols are where people put their bribes. By the green check mark on red, that means they're paying you to put red in. And so that way I know if I held my end of the deal or not. If I had,
And I'll say I'm actually kind of a sucker for games to give you your own little board and have a place to put everything. It's nice to have your own, this is the board where, the real game goes on, but then you have your own little board where you have everything kind of stacked, you know where you're standing.
I'm going to agree. I love player mats. I don't know why. I just think it's just a nice little
and the
extra
little
bonus.
shield on this is fancy.
What's
It
the
makes
general,
people feel special.
What's the general cost of a game like this?
I'm not sure. I want to say its MSRP is $50 US dollars, I think.
You get a
I'm
lot
not
of stuff
positive.
in it, though, and you get a wooden gavel.
That's just it. There's a lot of components. And then what would you say the age rating on this would be?
According to them, it's 10 and up. I'm going to disagree with that.
I'd say at least 14.
Unless they're playing with a bunch of like-aged individuals, I think a 10-year-old
And I think
arguing with an adult, no, you don't want blue in it, because you literally are arguing and offering bribes and
maybe
trying
they-
to team up, they're going to be intimidated by the
And
adults.
maybe to give people an idea of that, we can get into strategy a little bit, because that's where, this game gets really complicated, I think, to some degree.
Okay.
It's like the simplest, most complicated game you'll ever play.
Should we just go around and just talk strategy, just go down the row and keep it organized?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Strategy. This was the first night I played the game, and it literally took me 1/4 of one turn to really just catch on. The rest of it, I lost because of the 1/4 of one turn, but I ended up winning the second game. But I don't I don't know if there's a true strategy you can go with, but I withheld a lot on my turns. Instead of jumping in, I waited for people to kind of say what they would think they would like, and then I either let it go or try to bid against it to kind of wait it out.
Trying to figure out where other people stand.
Yeah, just kind of tried to read other people.
Because only the person with the map can really control what gets slid in and out.
Right.
So to make that clear.
And honestly, they say you can bribe other players to bribe the the chancellor
or to vote no or yes too.
The Secretary General.
Secretary General. Yes.
The chancellor, the grand
Emperor
Grand
Yeah.
Poobah.
Prime Minister.
Yeah. So that I don't know why you would do that, but you basically just talk to each other. Hey, if you go into 2, I'll go into 2. We'll both spend our money to try to influence. Kind of go that route, and then some people were like, no, I'll give you 5 just to cancel that out.
Yeah.
I think the downfall for we all played at different times. Some of us have played 5 games now. The first game you tend to overspend. You're like, I've got 12 points here, and remember that's your score, and that's how you win at the end. You keep getting more, or maybe losing if you get negative points. But you tend to overspend. Like, I'll get 5 if that passes. I'll give you 3. And then you're only really getting 2 at that point. You've spent 3 to get 5. You really have to be careful, because I know my first game I was spending so much.
I'm gonna jump right on
no
that.
money right away.
Yeah, I'm going to jump right on that and say what makes it kind of complicated and might make this 10 plus, maybe a little bit of a low number in reality, is that fact. Is you really have to keep track of how much you spend and how that's going to affect you versus what you're actually making back here. It's a lot of actually, to some degree, doing some
Internal
math in your
math.
head. And
Yeah,
you're
it's
like, okay,
boom, boom, boom.
I'm going to spend 5 and I'm going to get 2 by spending 5. Is that going to really balance out well? And you have to do it fast because it's a 5-minute round.
And right away, again, when they say 10 and up, well, you got positive and negative numbers right off the bat.
Yeah,
on here.
I had trouble with
and
that.
some kids not working with negative numbers yet, that's going to be
10.
troublesome.
I was chewing on the cardboard the whole time.
Okay, so if I eat 2 black, what's my score?
No, but there's different strategy too. Mainly, what I tried to do for strategy was when you get the gavel and you're running the show, is to try and trick people into giving you money,
Definitely.
Even if it's not going to affect you.
even if it's not going to affect me either way. Because if you can trick them, then you can gain a lot.
And I'd say there's 2 ways
Right.
2 ways about going about this. One is put a color out there just to test the waters. And see if there's people who are immediately willing to say, no, I will give you 3 to take that green off. I do not want. So
You should
maybe throw a few things out there to test, or withhold. Put a couple out and act like, one time I acted like I did not want a color. It did not affect me in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't getting positive or negative. I did not have that color hidden behind my shield here. And I just acted like I really didn't want it. And I think I got Adam and Ian, this is the last week when we played, to end up putting money together. I got 6 or 7
Adam
points.
and Andrew.
Adam and Andrew. Did I say Ian? Sorry.
Ian was playing through Skype.
I was just chewing on the cardboard.
And so sometimes just it's like poker. Pretend like you have something you don't, or you don't have something that you do, and kind of feel the waters out that way.
I did that the first game tonight, and I actually won the game. I did that when I had the gavel. I almost made no points the rest of when I was playing, except for when I had the gavel or when I was the person that I just raked in.
And one thing I'll get, being the person in charge, you're going to have your colors back here, and you might think, oh, I want blue in because I have blue on +3 and +5. But in reality, as the person in charge, you have to be willing to sometimes give up what's on your board if you can really work people up. Because I had times where like my 5 was blue, but somebody was willing to pay me 5 or pay me 6.
Or 2 people gained up to pay you more than 5.
And so I'm like, oh, blue's out. I mean, it's my biggest scoring number, but I'll kick it out if somebody's willing to.
And
give
try
me
not
more.
to act like too disappointed. But like, okay, whatever. Okay, fine, blue's out. And then somebody else might throw more
You're
in.
trying to teach people how to bluff.
Yes. Here's how you lie, children.
Oh no.
Oh no. These two worst bluffers ever.
Oh.
They're like, oh yeah, this is gonna get me 6 for this round.
I'm not
Ian
doing
and I
that.
are like,
Can you guys see my board?
Andrew, how do I do this one?
But that's really what this game gets down to. I think, as far as strategy, in my opinion, is it's a lot like poker and being able to read people, being able to say, why do they want that, and keeping track of what they want as far as the symbol goes, especially throughout the entire game.
Or sometimes doing what we do in our reviews, just try to drown everybody else out.
Which
Just make some
good.
noise and
I
argue.
actually think that's a legitimate strategy
Yeah,
to burn time
you
away
can-
from the rest of the people, because once the timer goes out, it is what it is. on the
Yeah, if you
board.
can shut
can't do
somebody
it.
else up.
Oh yeah.
ironically,
really
your
screw 'em.
timer's out.
Yeah,
Should we
we're-
review this or what?
Are we good for strategy? We talked components. I think we're ready to
You want
go.
to do likes and
reviews.
dislikes, or we
Oh,
want to
likes and dislikes.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to just jump in with one dislike, and we didn't really get into on components. Is you got these little discs.
Specifically,
They're all pretty good. The red, black, green, blue. You can see all the symbols really well.
easy to read.
Yellow, you can't see at all. I mean, you can try zooming in on this video all you want. It's white ink on a yellow background.
And a very pale yellow background.
If it's across the board, I can't tell you what that symbol is. I have no clue.
I actually can't see it either. What is it?
It's a white something.
It's the
If you've got
fist.
steady
It's the
hands, get a
fist.
Sharpie out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could outline it maybe. The rest of them are fine, but that yellow is just it's badly done.
That's a dislike, obviously.
The other one I think a few of us noticed is that these don't
Oh.
sit in there just perfectly. They sit up just a little high, so they're easy to kind of bump out of place. They don't necessarily knock over, but the little wings will pop out to the side a
Yeah,
little
the
bit.
legs are a little long, so they actually stick.
It
through
happened
the
maybe
board.
twice in 5 games. So
Yeah.
They hold well enough, but they definitely could be more snug.
I know there's a few times I bumped it, and like one of the little legs would pop out, and I just push it back in. It's not like it tipped over.
And that's actually going to get into a like for me, and I already mentioned this, but having your own player map, especially one that's as well set up as this, everything has a place. You got a little block here.
And it's language independent, which is probably easier for them to
Awesome.
publish and sell around the country, but around the world. It's all colors and symbols, very easy to read, which is cool.
We're melting
One,
down now.
one other thing I did like is that you got to draw out of this bag, and it's black. I mean, you can look in there. I'm looking in there right now, and you can barely see the symbols
Could
and
it have been a
colors.
different
So
color and you'd be okay with it?
I'm just saying
It's
that the
just gonna
black.
be dark, I
really-
think.
I'm just saying
Not
that
a
it takes
racial
away
thing.
so you can't see inside.
I'm not
it,
going
basically.
it's not Ziplocs. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying, instead of like Adam said, you can put them on the table and shuffle them up. Well, that just takes up extra space. Too.
I have another big like is the fact that it plays so fast because every round is timed. And we rarely have this run out. We usually just end up pounding the gavel like that's it. I'm done, or
And
nobody's talking more. Let's vote.
at most, it's 5 minutes round. So with 4 people, it's 20 minutes.
And I honestly think as you're the grand poupon, or
Pumbaa.
Pumbaa, and if you're the chancellor, I think you want it to go as long as you can because you want to milk everybody for as much money as you can. So I mean, it is
True.
a benefit to kind of give your time the amount of time that is on board.
But
So
the
that's
point
your
is,
like?
it's a fast playing game, and I feel like
you like the fact that
usually
there's a timer, and because I always take the longest time out of everybody to move. So
There's a phrase that we're not allowed to say in the review.
no,
But-
Ian, go.
there's swears,
Ian,
no swears.
blinking, go.
Okay.
But can we get back to what my like was? My like
Were you
was
talking?
the game plays. The game plays in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a full-fledged board. I feel like I played an actual, full-fledged, nice components, a big board game, whereas most games that play in under 30 minutes are card-based, very fast, very light, not many rules, and it's just like, oh, I'm only playing this because we don't have time to play something better. Whereas with Article 27, I feel like it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy playing it. And it just happens to play really fast, so it's a great way to start the night, end the night, play between bigger games. Or we played 3 games in a row before and had fun all 3 games.
And I think it's a good segue into our reviews. I mean,
Can I?
you
I
want-
ask,
you
I
got
just
one?
want to just ask a question. I had over 30 influence points in this last game. My behind the scenes kind of stuff, it was getting kind of tight back in there.
Yeah.
And if you don't want people to know how much money influence points you have, and you don't want to trade out coins,
And I was
you're
with
kinda
you.
running out
I
a
was
little
with
bit.
you too. My money was really. I was over 30 also, and if you have a lot of ones,
don't be knocking my player, man. I love that.
No, I was wondering. I just kind of thought, where do you guys stand on that piece of it?
I think you can get. especially with a 6-player game, I think you could get really crowded back.
Well, I think actually with 6 players, you might not have as much money.
Maybe this
or
is a little
too. I don't know.
Maybe the focus making this too big.
Could bump
That
this
could
up
be.
a little bit.
I mean, let's face it, these do not need to be this large. If they made these smaller, the circles back here would be smaller, take up less space too. That could be
sure,
it. It's a matter of
So
I don't know,
it's
give
all
and take.
perspective.
Yeah, I just didn't know kind of
So-
how that played in and kind of what it's
All right, so we're here to our scoring section. I think we go scale 1 to 10. Obviously, 1 is the low bad end, 10 is great.
I would buy this game. I had a lot of fun playing it, and I'd play it over and over again. So I was giving this about an 8. There is some minor things here or there that I didn't like, and then depending on the person you're playing against, it might not go so well.
So I sometimes like to think of this way: what's keeping it from a 10 then? If you like it that much, an 8's a really high score.
Yeah, I think it's just not having enough people to play it, and at the lower numbers, it can't. I don't know that it'd be that great.
A 3-player game.
3 would be a terrible game.
Yeah, it's just you have to have enough players, and if you have too many, you run into some issues there and things like that. But I find that few game points might not flow so well. But a 4-person game that we had, I had a good fun time, and probably the family that I play with would probably enjoy this game, and I'd probably buy it. So
Non-gamers, you think?
What?
Non-gamers.
Oh, non-gamers. Oh yeah, they're non-gamers, 100%. I'm like the only odd duck out, I guess. So the only sane one in the group. But I would give this an 8
Haven't helped that
based,
group.
based on where I'm personally at with stuff. So
I've met them. He's not the same one.
I was a 7.5, but what pushed it over is the wooden gavel. I'm gonna go 8 too. I agree with you. It is an 8.
Is this hand whittled?
It is a fun. It is a fun game. Like I said, I like the length, the components.
I think we're done then.
I like we don't need to say anymore. The theme though also pushes over politics. Sounds like it would be really boring. There aren't many games so it's unique in its theme.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing, the bartering and trying to add and take things away from the bill until your country is happy with what's getting passed, makes sense thematically. It could be almost borderline educational a little bit. They could, how politics work, whatever for kids. The downside, why am I not giving it a higher score than an 8? Not good for kids. I don't care. I don't think it would be good for 10-year-olds. And depending on the crowd you play with, if somebody really wanted to be a jerk, like with holes up, just pound the gavel right away and try to force votes, they could make the game a lot less fun. There's always certain people that you don't like to play certain games with. This is one of those games where if you have somebody in your group who decides they're not going to like it, or they're going to try to break it or do something like that, they could basically make it less... No.
Can you say his name?
No, we're not even going to go there. They can make it less enjoyable for other people, I think.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. Not every game's for every person. Whatever.
Yeah, if they don't like it, you don't want to force the issue anyway.
That's
so,
right.
I'm going to actually jump right on board and say 8 too. I think they've said everything that can really be said about it. It's a lot of fun. One thing I'm actually going to piggyback on Brian with is it can be borderline educational, and I think it could really give people an insight into what goes on not only in the UN but in Congress as far as
it's bugging me. Okay.
as far as how bills actually get passed. It's not this is the best thing to do. There's some back and forth that goes into it. So I think it really could be kind of educational for somebody who's like a middle school, high schooler.
And let's face it, there's states who see a bill and it's like, well, it may not be the best thing, but it'll benefit my state in a certain way, or the people I represent in a certain way.
And to that extent, I think it's actually a fairly realistic game. It does a good job of putting that into a board game and making it fun, but still being very realistic.
Can we make a political
I
joke
agree.
right now? So basically, we should just set the game up and nobody do anything.
It can end up that way.
Yeah, we should just.
I've had rounds where I came out and I was at 0.
Yeah, well, why did we pass that? I have nothing, and I voted for it.
But no, it's just a lot of fun, and one of the things that
They should
really
have a bailout.
a game bailout when everybody loses.
We're all in the negative. Let's just take from the bank, baby.
This has one thing that makes the Cosmic Encounters a lot of fun, and why I like that so much is just the player interaction. Everybody is always involved, always playing, always paying attention.
Definitely.
And it plays fast, it's fast-paced, everybody's involved. It's just fun. I give it an 8.
Solid.
Okay, before I start my review, I know nothing about politics. This is not educational at all. I was more confused by this than anything.
But you won. You won one.
Yeah, but you don't have to
More
know
real
politics to win this
like
game.
politics. You can have the person that has no clue what's going on.
This guy.
So Christy, no.
Whoa.
If you're local to South Dakota, one person got that joke. Yay.
There's only one person in the state.
But I'm going to give it an 8 also. I really enjoyed it. There's only 2 things that I just don't like about it is the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers me.
And that was just flat. It was a terrible decision. I don't know how it ever went to print like that.
That's
Seriously, we all complained about
that's
it.
not a game breaker by any means, but it's definitely hard to play because you have to literally get really close to see what it is or grab it.
I'm over like 2 feet away. I have no clue what that is.
Yeah,
I was on the
exactly.
outside of the board. I had no chance.
And that I know it's meant to play quick, but sometimes it feels like it's almost too quick, in my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we went around the table and we talked about it. Like a 5-player game would be about perfect in game length and turns and things like that to accumulate. So you can go up and down in money and things like that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 because I played it 5 times and I'd play it again. So
But why not higher though?
why not higher than
Because
an
he
8?
said he played a little too fast. I think he gave some legitimate reasons. The yellow is...
Yeah, unlike you, he
Big
justified.
I thought I just
First time we've opened on the exact same number. Just going to point that out right now.
It's a lot of fun.
We all
It is,
agreed
it is.
100%, which is pretty cool.
Well, that's our review for this week. Next week, we're going to be playing Whitewater. It's another fairly light game, fast-paced game. So check us out then.